Tonight on Cronkite News, a matchup for the ages took place on Saturday between the UCLA Bruins and the Arizona Wildcats. We have more on the incredible comeback in Tucson.
Plus, USC finished off its last Pac-12 trip to Arizona with a final stop in Tempe. LeBron James Jr. and the Trojans were greeted by one of the biggest crowds in DFA history.
And Roe v. Wade turns 51, and some Arizona lawmakers believe that abortion access will be expanded while the Arizona Supreme Court is still weighing their options. Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Sammy Miller.
And I'm Ethan Tuttle. Thank you for joining us.
We begin today with one final ride at the legendary McKale Center in Tucson between the UCLA Bruins and the Arizona Wildcats.
Yeah, the atmosphere at McKale is always electric, Sammy, and Saturday night was no different. Cronkite News reporter Jonah Krell joins us now with more on the historic night.
That's right, guys. With the splitting of the Pac-12 conference after this season, you can't help but cherish the finales of so many historic rivalries. And UCLA and Arizona basketball is just another one. The 12th-seeded Wildcats took on the Bruins one last time in the McKale Center this past Saturday, and the matchup of the conference's biggest powerhouses delivered once again. Bruins and Wildcats, the two most successful programs in Pac-12 conference history, battled for the final time at the McKale Center as league foes Saturday. Even with UCLA holding an atypical 8-10 record coming into the game, Arizona head coach Tommy Lloyd knew it would be a dogfight.
They're rivalry games. You throw everything out the window. And they have good players, and they have a great coach. But I know when I'm preparing to play against a Mick Cronin coach team, he's one of the best coaches in the country. And so I have a ton of respect for him and with what he's done with those guys.
And Cronin's Bruins attacked early, shooting a sizzling 58% from the field in the first half and growing their largest lead to 19 points. Despite the Wildcats' shooting struggles lasting for the entire game, their grinded-out second half resulted in a 77-71 win, Arizona's largest comeback victory since 2013.
We're going to be very happy and thankful we won today. They were more ready than we were, and, luckily we were playing at home. Luckily they finally missed a few shots, and maybe our defense had a little bit to do with that, I don't know, but I'm just thankful for the results, and I'm going to get into the weeds tomorrow.
Of all places, this storied rivalry in its last matchup at McKale for now came down to the free throw line, where Arizona was led by Umar Ballo. Despite shooting under 50% from the charity stripe this season, Ballo nailed 7 of his 8 attempts to mount the charge in a gutsy comeback win.
I've been here for 3 years. I'm sure I had better games, but today was special, I needed to make them the most, and then I'm glad I got to make them. And my teammates trust me, they believe in me. When you have a team like that believe in you 100%, it gives you confidence.
Ballo finished with his 6th double-double this season and was aided down the stretch by Pelle Larsson, who had a game-high 22 points and an 8-for-8 showing from the free throw line. For Lloyd, Saturday was a positive sign that his squad can win in different ways.
I just think it shows you, hang in there. Make that next play, dig in. You don't not necessarily want your team to be in that position, but when you're in that position, you got to take advantage of it. And our guys did today, and I think it was a great experience.
And it's even sweeter against the team from Westwood. Tommy Lloyd called the game a program win for an Arizona team that has struggled to shoot efficiently as of late. We'll see if it can catapult them to some easier wins ahead. In the studio, Jonah Krell, Cronkite News.
After a disappointing loss to UCLA, the ASU men's basketball team bounced back against USC on Saturday. Philip Level has more on how the Sun Devils were able to control the game.
After ASU's loss to UCLA, head coach Bobby Hurley told the media that he would not say how he really felt. However, he was in better spirits after the Sun Devils were able to beat the USC Trojans 82-67 and earn their 11th win of the season.
I'm sorry, I blacked out in that presser. I don't even really remember what exactly I said. But everyone did well today. All 13 participants were on the floor. Were great today.
Just learn from our mistakes, basically. At UCLA game, we couldn't put them away. They made a run. The momentum shifted. And this game, I felt like we just learned from our mistakes and we closed it out.
The Sun Devils not only limited their own mistakes, but they were able to capitalize off the Trojan mistakes. ASU had an astounding 12 steals, including one that set the tone early in the game.
I don't know if I've heard DFA that loud in a long time.
The crowd at Desert Financial Arena was electric. Over 4,300 students were in attendance, which is the second highest mark in DFA history, falling only behind last year's game against UCLA.
I hope it's like this every game for the rest of the year. I appreciate when everybody comes out and supports us, and that helps us. If they're out there cheering for us, then we're going to go hard for them.
The Devils will be on the road at Oregon and Oregon State this week, but they will return to Desert Financial Arena against Stanford on February 1st. In Tempe, Philip Level, Cronkite News.
The matchup against USC was not just important for ASU to regain its momentum, but one of the biggest names in college basketball came to visit. LeBron James Jr., better known as Bronny, came to town, and the ASU students and fans showed out to watch him play. Saturday was Bronny James's first time coming to the Valley to square off against the Sun Devils. The crowd gave Bronny a bit of a hard time, but luckily his father was not in attendance. However, after the game, the Sun Devils offered their opinion on how the freshman has played so far this season for the Trojans.
Right way. I don't think he forces it. I think he's out there just trying to figure out his way. Their team is kind of struggling right now, maybe for identity or whatever, and they're missing players and they're hurt. So I think he's doing the best he can right now.
Ethan, it was quite the weekend of basketball here in the Valley as the Phoenix Suns got the win over the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah, Kevin Durant and the Suns have some momentum, taking their 5th straight win. The Suns' big three of Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal are starting to click and pick up steam.
Kevin Durant led the Suns last night with 40 points by doing what he does best with these beautiful mid-range shots. All 3 of the Suns' star players started last night, and Kevin Durant scored all 40 of his points without going to the free throw line once. The Sun Devils will take on the Chicago Bulls at home tonight at 7.
Another Monday is here. With it brings a start to a new work week. We now go to Max Williams, who has your weather forecast for this week.
Now, Max, big question over here. How much longer do I need to wear a rain jacket?
Thanks, guys. As we look ahead to later in the evening, the temperatures aren't going to drop too much. As you see, we only get to about 57 degrees at about 10 p.m. Also at that time, you can expect the highest wind speeds, but we're only getting up to about 7 miles per hour. As we look at the precipitation we can expect in about the next 24 hours, it gets to be the heaviest around the early afternoon. You can see a lot of green covering most of the state. And as we look north towards Flagstaff, you can see a little bit of that blue snow and the pink rose color that jets through the middle of the state. That represents a wintry mix, and you're going to want to watch out for that if you're driving on those roads. Stay safe out there, folks. As we move on towards the low temperatures, the coldest we're going to get is Flagstaff up north. That's going to be about 24 degrees, 25 in the Grand Canyon, 51 down here in Phoenix. Don't have to worry as much about those freezing temps. And the highs, well, not too different. 59 degrees here in Phoenix, only an 8-degree difference from earlier in the day where we see that low. Moving on to the next couple of days, we do see that chance of precipitation drop off. Near Thursday, we only have about 10% chance. And as I step aside here and reveal the weekend, it's going to warm up. You see the sun starting to peek out from behind those clouds on the weekend. And we're going to see temperatures as high as 75 and 76 as we head into the next week. From the Cronkite Weather Center, I'm Max Williams.
A big shakeup in the world of politics, Ethan.
That's right. Zariah Cole joins us in the newsroom for the latest on the race for the Republican nominee.
New Hampshire has less than 24 hours left until their primary, and only 2 Republican candidates remain in the race. Ron DeSantis announced that he is suspending his Republican presidential campaign just 2 days before New Hampshire's primary. DeSantis, once favored to take on Donald Trump, has turned his support towards the former president. This decision leaves Trump and former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley in the race. After Trump's landslide win in Iowa and the polling in his favor, the 45th president is looking beyond and on to the next battle in South Carolina next month. Today marks 51 years since the landmark Supreme Court case, Roe v. Wade, that legalized abortion nationwide. This weekend, hundreds here in Arizona attend a rally to voice their opinions on both sides. Our Maria Stobbs attended the Bigger Than Roe National March.
When the Supreme Court returned abortion regulating power to the states, Arizona had two laws on the books. One outlaws abortions after 15 weeks, and the other, which dates back to 1864, bans abortions in almost all cases. The two laws are still being debated in court, and here in Arizona, both sides of the abortion debate are taking action ahead of the election. Hundreds of abortion rights activists chanting towards the Capitol.
I marched in the 70s to get Roe passed, and I cannot believe we're back to this again.
The march reminding some women of their experiences more than 50 years ago.
Having to have a baby when I wasn't ready for that changed the trajectory of my entire life. And I have to say that even though my kid is fantastic and I love him dearly, I'm still pissed off about it after all of these years.
Arizona bans abortions after 15 weeks, and now one group is hoping to put a proposed constitutional amendment on the ballot.
Weeks of pregnancy are really a thought about making sure everybody is included in that process and able to access abortion when they need it, how they need it, and why is not a part of this discussion any longer.
The campaign is collecting signatures for the Arizona Abortion Access Act. If it's on the ballot, voters can choose to make abortion care legal up until a fetus can survive outside of the womb. It would also allow later abortions to save the mother's life or to protect her physical or mental health.
I'm out here trying to rally women to vote, 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 vote.
Arizona for Abortion Access needs more than 380,000 signatures by July in order to qualify for the November ballot. And while they're at their halfway goal and still gaining support, they are now facing an organized opposition.
This amendment eliminates the requirement that girls and women see a qualified medical doctor to get an abortion, and that is what is unsafe.
The It Goes Too Far campaign is showing concerns about the language used in the amendment, with terms like healthcare provider instead of physician.
It is crazy that they are going to be writing language so broad in order to do that.
Advocates for the ballot initiative say the change in language is intentional and allows nurse practitioners to provide services. If the campaign gets enough signatures, the issue will likely be decided in November. Since Roe v. Wade was overturned, abortion has been on the ballot in 7 states. According to NBC, anti-abortion groups have lost every time. In the newsroom, Maria Stobbs, Cronkite News.
I'm Zariah Cole.
Finally on Sunday, Iowa women's basketball took on Ohio State in a thrilling matchup. Ohio State upset Iowa, and the Buckeye fans stormed the court.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a scary scene when star Iowa guard Caitlin Clark was hit by a fan while trying to exit the court.
The video here shows the collision between Clark and the Ohio State fan. Clark had 45 in the loss to the Buckeyes, and Ohio State head coach Kevin McGuff said that should never happen.
This incident has brought up a large amount of backlash on social media in the issue of player safety during court stormings. Clark was carried off by her teammates, but says she is okay. That's it for this edition of Cronkite News. Thanks for joining us.
And to see top Arizona stories anytime, log on to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
First one back and went swimmingly.